triangle, a lot of great moves from mount. For me, mounted triangle is a hidden gem. It's one of the moves that is way higher percentage than it looks. The problem is commitment. And it is one of my top submissions because I spent a lot of time doing no-gi as well. And you'll find that you'll get to mount on people in no-gi, and if they don't have collars, sometimes it's difficult to bait things off of each other, right? In the gi, I'm going to attack the collar, attack the arm, attack the collar, attack the arm. Can't attack the collar. So what I do is I grab a pressure down on the wrist, which is normal because people are typically protecting their collar. That's why it's still good in no-gi, or excuse me, in the gi. If I come here and he's protecting his collar, this is a great setup. So hand comes over, and I'm going to come down, I'm going to grab back of the neck, okay? I'm going to lift up on my partner, and as I lift, I'm just going to swing that leg right over top of his arm. Now, you see how his elbow flared out here? This is completely normal. What I see a lot of people do is immediately grab their own shin. I don't want you to grab the shin, I want you to grab the elbow, and then you're going to bring that arm across by pinching with the outside of your thigh. Does that make sense? Now I'm going to slide my hand down and grab. I'm going to rotate my body. I'm going to lean, and then I'll triangle my legs. I do not want you to roll. Now, at any point in this, as a training partner, you can tap, right? Sometimes when you get here and I'm lifting and the leg comes around, sometimes when you come here, that will be enough to tap someone. But basically, I want the elbow to break the plane of the shoulder. So I pull, then I'll slide that hand down, and then my ankle is still under his shoulder. So I'm going to rotate my body a little bit of a lean, and then get that. So let's look at it a little bit different angle. So I'm here, I'm lifting, the leg goes around, right? He's pinching down with this, that's okay. I'm going to lift up, I'm going to pinch around. My hand comes here. See how my ankle's under his shoulder? I don't want that. That's not across the back of his neck. If he does roll me, he'll be able to start to defend. So I'm here, I get control. Look at how I rotated and that heel came out from underneath his shoulder. And then I'm here. Make sense? Let's work on the transition and we'll talk about some extra finishing things. Let's get it. 1, 2. So 1, 2, I get to here, and everyone kind of wants to wait for me to go get a hold of my ankle, and that's when they'll start to defend. And so they'll frame this hand across. It's not a good place for the hand, but they're trying to push back on you. So my hand will come and grab at the wrist, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand on the floor. Now to finish, instead of grabbing my own ankle, right, and then trying to tilt, I'm grabbing here, I'm going to trace my knee across the floor. I'm going to pinch my knees together. So I'm here. Is my knee off the floor?
No.
Is it off the floor?
No.
Is it off the floor?
No.
This is the finish right here, guys. They can get so tight. It's ridiculous how tight that is. So I'm here, around, right? He thinks he's going to fight, right? Frames. Oh, no, right? So I'm bringing that out on the floor, right? Singing to the microphone. One more time. Do you want to see this? Close your out. Right? So I'm here. You can lean so that your hip gets a hold of that arm too. Keep this on the floor. Make sense?
Yep.
Pinch those knees together and a light pull. It comes kind of on out of nowhere. You think you're good. You're waiting for them to roll for the triangle, and then this comes on. Let's try. 1, 2. When I scoop around the outside of his head, you're going to notice that the inside shoulder, I actually don't have any control over. So I come here, I come around, I come to this, and as I'm tracing around, freeze, there's nothing controlling that shoulder, right? And this is pressure, and so what people do is they will belly down by pulling that bottom shoulder away. And a lot of people want to stay here. I don't want you to stay here. If you stay here, sometimes they'll escape. What I want you to do is I want you to turn both of your knees towards their hips, and I want you to lay down here. This is where you'll finish the arm bar, and then if you need to, you can pull this over the head and then finish into arm over or bring the legs back over top of the head. So let's look at what we're going to do here. I want you to go 1, 2, be gentle, they belly down. When they belly down, I want you to very controlled turn your knees towards the hips and finish here. If you want to lay down, you can, but your knees need to be facing the hips. Does that make sense? Because when you do that, they collapse their arm in. There's no way they're pulling the arm out. If you stay here, sometimes they'll lift their shoulder and you'll get rolled over into this direction here. So lay on your side, advance your knees towards their hips, but do it nice and controlled so you don't pop their elbow while you're kind of feeling out where that pressure is. Does that make sense? Good training partner is going to belly down. Some of you are going to go, I can't belly down. Yep, it's hard to belly down, but desperation breeds innovation. And I'll tell you, when you're trying to rip someone's arm off, like you start to pinch their head with what we just did, people figure out a way. So if you're practicing, help the person that's bellying down have some space, lift some pressure off. Let's get it. 1, 2. You're coming in here and you're staying like this. And you see how my hip is back? What's ending up happening is you feel like your knee binds and you can't be behind the head. What you need to notice is that when I throw that leg, my hip comes forward. And it removes the ability for them to push. They'll push here and you'll try to bring this arm across and it'll catch on your own body. And when I push forward with my hip, look at how his elbow pops out, then you'll start to be able to move into this position. But it also is what allows the leg to seed behind the head. A lot of you are coming here, right? So I'm lifting, but my hip is forward. Now, some of you will go, I feel like I am going to lose the position because of the disengagement and pushing with the hip. Sometimes you will, okay? But I can tell you from experience, it doesn't happen as much as you feel like it will happen doing it on top. Because there is a total commitment to this move. If you do it part way and you get caught in this position, guys, they're coming under your leg, they're coming out the back door. And you might be okay, but maybe not too. So when you come forward, your hip has to be forward. Now, when I get here, or any time that I start to lose this and I feel like I can't finish the triangle, this is gonna be my pivot knee. And it has to be my hips forward. If my hips are down, I won't be able to turn. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let him out, I'm gonna pivot on my knee, and I'm gonna turn to side control. At any point, when you feel like you're losing it, this is what you do. You spin on the knee, back to side control. 1, 2. Let's look at it again. 1, 2. Does that make sense? If you don't get behind the head, pivot on the knee. There'll be people that when you go like this, like you don't get behind the head, it's always pivot back on that knee, even if your butt sat on them. That's the bailout. Make sense? Let's try it. 1, 2. Right away. Right when I get to mount and they go, oh, I'm mounted. In that moment, while they're thinking about mount, they're gonna see my leg come over. And so here's what I want. I want you to start in side control with a cross face, okay? And grab whatever. My hand's gonna come in, hips, I step over top. See how my hand came right to that wrist? And I don't have posture. Is his head on the floor? No, if his head's on the floor, then I know that he'll be on the defense. So now I'm gonna sit up and that leg's gonna come right over. And then you guys can pivot, cross face, right? My hips come over, I grab control, right into it. You guys understand what's happening? So you come over here, you know where that hand's gonna be, grab it. And a lot of times this is good movement anyway, because if I don't grab it, sometimes they'll bring that hand in and bridge me over. They'll start to bridge out. So when I control that, inside knee comes up, bang, right here. That make sense? So let's just make a little bit of drill out of it. You're gonna practice both sides, but as soon as you get to mount, before my knee even catches the floor, I've got a hand on the wrist, and I know my arm's gonna be behind the head, because I had a cross face, right? Let's give it a shot. 1, 2. All right, I'm exhausted because I'm doing the moves that I teach you guys all the time. So if you're not sweating like this, man, you really ain't training. Getting out of breath is good. Doing it while you're tired is good. Fitting the moves in reality is good. Everything else is just, it's not real, right? You got to practice it for real in order for it to be yours. So you should sweat, train, come watch my videos, then sweat, train, come watch my videos.